All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down literally a parent's absolute worst nightmare, a missing child in a crowded market. We're going to look really closely at a specific event to understand the intense emotional stakes involved. And, more importantly, the critical safety protocols that actually lead to a successful rescue. So, whether you're a parent, an aunt, an uncle, or honestly just someone who navigates busy public spaces, the breakdown we're about to go through is just incredibly vital.
I want you to picture this. Imagine the sheer immediate panic. You're in a bustling, packed city market. It's totally full of family shopping. The noise is absolutely everywhere, and there are distractions in literally every direction. And then you turn around and you realize your child is gone. It's a terrifying thought, right? But as our source material shows, it happens in the blink of an eye. The speed at which a completely ordinary day can just flip into an absolute nightmare is exactly why we really need to unpack how these situations unfold.
It always starts with the most mundane trigger. We've got a 5-year-old boy wearing a bright yellow t-shirt, and he's just captivated by some colorful balloons. In that one single distracted second, he accidentally lets go of his mom's hand. He turns back around, and boom, she's gone. Look, it wasn't negligence. It was really just a split second of childhood curiosity in a crowded environment. But wow, that split second is literally all it takes for him to suddenly find himself completely alone in this sea of strangers. In that exact instant, this totally heartbreaking dual reality unfolds. On one side, we have the little boy's experience. He's just frozen in total panic. He starts crying, looking around frantically, and people are just walking right past him because, well, they don't know who he is, while he's just tightly clutching his small toy teddy bear. Now, on the flip side, we have the mother's experience. She is running frantically through the market, totally frightened, exhausted, and in tears as she asks literally every single shopkeeper if they've seen her son. It's this incredibly powerful contrast, paralysis on one side and frantic, desperate motion on the other.
So how do we actually stop this escalating panic? Well, it requires the absolute perfect first response. A kind police officer happens to notice the crying child. But I want you to pay close attention to the specific actions this officer takes. He doesn't just grab the kid. He kneels down to the boy's eye level, speaks gently to comfort him, and just simply asks for his name. This immediate de-escalation by the officer is, well, it's everything. He builds a momentary trust right there and then brings the terrified child to a safe, secure police help desk to actually kick off the official response.
Okay, so once the boy is safe, the sheer chaos of the market has to be met with structure and fast. In a matter of mere minutes, a rapid response protocol is activated. First minute, the boy is secured at the help desk. Immediately after that, minute 2, officers announce the missing child over the market's loudspeakers. Then, minute 3, they escalate things by checking the CCTV cameras to track movements. And finally, minute 4, they totally multiply their efforts as volunteers jump in to help the officers physically search the market for the worried mom. I mean, it transforms a totally chaotic situation into a highly structured search grid almost instantly. To actually pull off this rapid response, authorities deploy a heavily layered, comprehensive strategy. They aren't just crossing their fingers and relying on one method. No, they systematically layer their resources. So you've got the help desk officers handling the audio communication through those loudspeaker announcements. Then you have field officers and volunteers providing the boots-on-the-ground physical manpower for the market search. And to top it all off, you have the digital surveillance layer through the CCTV cameras. By covering the audio, the physical, and the digital angles, they're making sure that literally every possible corner of the market is actively being monitored. And because of that layered, comprehensive search strategy, we finally get our turning point. The breakthrough happens. One of the officers out in the field spots the mother. And remember, she is completely exhausted, running through the market in tears. The officer zeroes in on her based on those coordinated search efforts we just talked about and immediately steps in to guide her directly back to the help desk, right where her son is safely waiting. Guys, it is practically impossible not to feel the heavy emotional weight of this exact moment. The little boy sees his mom and he just runs right into her arms. They hug so tightly, both of them just crying with total relief. That agonizing, terrifying ordeal, which honestly probably felt like it was going to last forever, just evaporates into this tight, tearful embrace. It's the ultimate payoff of the quick intervention and that highly structured response we just walked through. Following that massive wave of relief, we get this really beautiful moment of aftermath and gratitude. The mother, of course, makes sure to thank the police officers for their incredibly quick response. The officers are smiling, clearly just super glad for the safe resolution. But they also use this quiet moment to gently and very professionally remind the parents about the importance of keeping children close in crowded places. And finally, the whole thing wraps up with the family walking home together safely, holding hands, which is just such a stark, comforting contrast to how the boy initially let go of her hand, right? Okay, so let's distill this entire narrative down into 3 actionable, sequential steps that you can memorize right now to protect your own family in crowded spaces. Step 1, keep your child close. I know, it sounds super simple, but as we saw with those colorful balloons, distractions happen fast. Step 2, if a child does happen to get lost, stay calm. Panic totally clouds your judgment, and you really need a clear head. And step 3, seek help from the nearest police officer immediately. Seriously, do not wait. As we saw, their rapid response protocols are incredibly effective when they're activated early. So, the ultimate takeaway from this whole incident is a really direct, unambiguous directive. Always keep your child close in crowded places. If they do get lost, stay calm and seek police help immediately. This perfectly cements the essential lessons of this explainer. It takes what is basically a terrifying hypothetical situation and turns it into a manageable, super clear plan of action. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this really critical thought to chew on. Are you and your child prepared for the unexpected in a crowd? Take these lessons, sit down, and actually discuss them with your family before your next big outing. Have a plan, know exactly who to look for, and just remember the steps we've outlined today. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is your absolute best preparation. Thank you so much for joining me to break this all down, and hey, stay safe out there.